So the state leaders of Minnesota bowed down to the Somalians and are turning this bar into a mosque.
Muslim bubble is busting. Bursting. Busting. Same shit. Muslims are threatening to shut down their businesses and leave the United States because of Islamophobia. Our f***ing job here is done. Finally, after all of this for 5 years, something is starting to work. There's no such thing as Islamophobia. Every concern about Islam is 100% valid. The only people who will gaslight you to believe something different is people on the left. And, you know, we should send them to the UK because they would get along a lot better there since they don't like free speech and they don't have any there anymore. And they can statistically, be... Allah Akbar in the middle of a place, assaulted, stabbed. It's all real concerns. You know what's so funny when people are like, oh, you're like Islamophobic, you don't want to live around them. No, because we don't share culture and values. That's why I don't want to live around them. That's why. And also, I'm like, have you been to any of their countries? They're terrifying. I would say all of the worst countries in the world that are the most dangerous, where they marry 6-year-olds, are Muslim countries. So it's like, if anyone in the world who defends Muslims goes there, they would be probably killed in a lot of them. But it's like, I don't really understand. It's like, that's a valid fear. Like, we don't want this to become 1% of that. So I would love for you guys to leave. You should go back to where you came from, where you can practice all those things and you can live around your own people. But frankly, we don't want any of it here. I don't even we shouldn't have more than one mosque here, because we should know where they are and be able to kind of monitor them. They're popping up all over the place, and I don't think that's good. Muslims use our language to lie to our face and integrate into the culture, and then they use it against you. There's a name for that.
The biggest mistake Americans in the West made was letting Muslims into their countries and teaching them the Western ways, including our Western language. The Muslims have this thing called taqiyya.
Oh, there you go.
They use our language to lie to our face. I've shared many examples where there was a deluded Muslim man claiming that Britain was built by Muslims. This is what happens when you teach them your language. You've given the enemy the tool of your speech, and they use it against you. You have this Somalian cockroach using the English language.
I love this guy.
To ice a disease and comparing it to the fake COVID-19. Whereas she would probably be stoned to death in a Muslim nation for even taking a selfie like that. But we invite them in here and they perpetuate the shitty ways that they fled from in our own country, bringing down our nation in the process. We can't afford for our nation to be turned into the shithole that they came out of.
Yep.
What we need to do is focus on getting all of them out of our country. Each and every one of them. And we can use posts like this to identify which ones are anti-American and a cancer on our nation.
I mean, bring him on the show. He's great. I was a little worried at first by the looks of him, but I was like, no, he got it down to... That's the funny thing is no one knows that there's that terminology where they lie, cheat, steal, kill in order to gain power. And then once they're in, they turn everything around. There's a bar in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it's being shut down to create a mosque for Somalians.
I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm standing outside a bar.
Minnesota.
This bar opened in 1906, Palmer's Bar, but this bar now is home to a new mosque here in Minnesota. As this is a Somalian community, and the Somalian community here, they complained about this bar. They said it was too loud. People were drinking alcohol, and it was just too loud to be in their community.
Oh my
so the
God.
of Minnesota bowed down to the Somalians and are turning this bar into a mosque. This was a staple of this community. The University of Minnesota is just right around the corner. College students used to come here and hang out, but no longer is this going to be happening. This is just another example of how our government leaders are bowing down to people who come into America, people who are not Americans, don't assimilate.
Yeah, why do we cater to them? Fuck them.
These cities to become just like their cities in Africa, just like in Somalia. So this bar is no longer here. It's going to be a mosque here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And this is just one of the things that are happening here in Minnesota. Mosques are popping up everywhere and massive fraud is going on.
They're literally just going to funnel money through the mosque.
Governor Tim Walz.
That's the craziest part about it. I like how they're like, we don't like the noise. We don't fucking care what you like and don't like. I don't like a Muslim call to prayer 4 times a day. I don't like guys. We saw one pulled over was praying on a mat and in between his Uber shift or whatever. But I'm like, you come here and you don't like it, so go the fuck back to where you came from. First of all, a Muslim to be you built any part of this country. I go, babe, yours aren't built. What do you mean? It's the same thing with the African thing. I'm like, go there. They're all it's like cement if they even have that. I'm like, babe, yours isn't built. Ours is built, okay? So you're not taking credit for any of this. You're good at the demolition and blowing shit up. We're good at building. Very different things. Why are we catering to Somalians as well? Why are we catering to anyone but Americans? I will never understand. Also, they're complaining about noise. Welcome to America. There's noise. Why don't you go live in the middle of the desert where you belong if you don't like noise? I don't understand. Even my white liberal bitch neighbor who had the nerve to come on our property and complain about lights. And I was like, well, now I'm going to play Trump speeches 24/7. So I hope you're going to complain about the noise next. Instead, she called the city on us. And I was like, hey, bitch, why do you live in West Hollywood if you don't like noise and lights? Why don't you go out to the countryside and go hang out there? But I was like, also, why don't you get off my property before my dog eats you?